Welcome back, Prime Timers. We're going to go over the top 10 most expensive and most profitable items that sold in my eBay store in August 2021. So we're going to start off at number 10, and we've got the vintage Jim Beam water tower decanter. This one sold for $70.55. I'm going to take you back to the original video where I sourced this from. If you didn't see it, I will link to it up top. Now, this was from a garage sale at the home of a retired antiques dealer, and he was just liquidating stuff. And so what initially appealed to me about this item was that it came in the original box. Now, never mind that it has some writing on it and some dirt and some stains on it. It's hard to find this in the original box. So most people will overlook that. You also, as a reseller, have to overlook the dust there that looks like cobwebs and the dust and dirt on top and around the decanter, because that's going to clean up real easily and present nicely. Now, this is really nice. You could see here that it has the original registration card and product information card. So those are nice little extras to have. So the reason I mention this stuff, especially about the box, is that in prior videos, I have talked about and advised generally moving past and not picking up Jim Beam decanters, because even though they're vintage and, in my opinion, the vast majority of them look really cool, the problem is that the market is still flooded with them. Even the ones from the 1970s and stuff, a lot of people just still held onto them. There are a lot of them produced, so you usually can't get that much out of them. Now, there are exceptions, and part of what makes this one an exception is that it has the original box, but there's something else on the box, and just from the physical appearance of it, that also helps, which is that it has a multi-functionality to it. In other words, it's not just something that could be used as a decanter, which is something used to store liquor, for those who don't know. But you could see here it says it's a complement to the Beam Train series. So this would look absolutely amazing as part of the background of someone's train set. Just look amazing. You could see here on the side, you even have the ladder going up to the top. You could imagine maybe taking some of those little train guys and figures, and maybe put one on the ledge, putting one near the ladder. Whatever you want to do, it would just look really cool. You could envision that. So that really helps. So this is helpful to think of in terms of multifunctionality. Also, just as another tip for people who are new resellers, is don't get tricked into thinking that just because an item is old and because an item is cool looking, that means it's valuable. Not necessarily so. Another great example of that are JFK items. There's so many JFK items out there that are overproduced, and a lot of people held on to them. They look cool when you come across them nowadays, but a lot of them just aren't worth much. Now, there's exceptions to that, just like there are exceptions here. But this is one of them I wanted to make sure that you knew about. So, okay, so let's move on to number 9, which is a lot of 6 heavy metal magazines from the 1970s. Now, I've talked about heavy metal magazines before, so I won't go into it in extensive detail, but it's a nice fantasy magazine that started in April 1977. So if I could find a bunch of heavy metal magazines from the 1970s, those are great to have, because those are more sought after and valuable, because there's not many of them still on the market. I mean, they're out there, but there's just not as many out there as there are for the 80s, 90s, 2000s, so on and so forth. So you can see here the earliest issue that I have is the June 1977 issue, which isn't too far away from that April 77 issue. So I took these together, put them together, 6 magazines, sold them for $75. I'm generally able to source these for $1 or less. It's similar to Mad magazines. You will sometimes see people, particularly at trade shows, who have these for like 10 to 15 bucks a piece. That's not what you're trying to source these for. You got to get them at clear outs. garage sales, estate sales, that kind of thing, or maybe make a bulk deal with a collector or something like that. So that's Heavy Metal Magazine right there. Now we're going to move on to the 1971 Voice of the Mummy game by Milton Bradley. Let me know in the comment section if you ever played this game. I was just flabbergasted when I found this. Take you back down memory lane. If you didn't see this, again, I'll put the link up top. But I can believe this is towards the oh, darn, I've got my own ad interfering with my own video. There you go. Oh boy. But here we go. Anyway, there it is right there on the bottom. Look at that. The Voice of the Mummy game. Anytime I see anything with mummies in it, anything horror related, I want to pick it up. And this was no exception. When you look inside of it, you're going to see that it has this main a game piece in the center, and that's the part that you want to eventually test to make sure that it works. But even if it doesn't work, it's still going to have value because this game is very, very difficult to find, and someone with repair skills may be able to get it back up and functioning. It had a lot of the original pieces to it, as you could see there, which was also an enormous selling point. It of course had the original box. If you just found that centerpiece right there, so freeze that into your memory, you just found that laying around, pick that up because someone again might buy that just to try to repair one of these games. It also has the little discs in there that would spin around. That's what you put inside of the mummy, and it plays the sounds for the game. So I did test mine out. They didn't work. It also had some additional pieces that you kind of like adorn the sides with. So that was important to have as well. Again, there's some box damage and stuff. You can see there I got it for $10, but I even wound up getting it for a little bit less than that once I got a bulk deal towards the end of the sale. So it really was less than $10. And I wound up selling it for $100. Someone who bought it was going to try to do a repair on it. And so, it's sold as is, incomplete for parts, non-working. Make sure you emphasize that. So again, for people who are new resellers, it's a very important thing to know with old games, especially ones that are have electronic parts to it, is that they'll still sell, especially if it's something desirable because someone thinks they might be able to fix it. Also, you can see here that I tried to show how those pieces fit into the game. Like you can see there, the little cobra that goes on the top of the head like that, and a little gemstone that goes on the bottom. Because for people who remember playing that game, if they see that, you're looking for that emotional reaction where I go, "Oh my God, I remember that. That's so cool." And I just show the different elements. There's that little record player that goes underneath it. You could see it right there as well. So that's what you're trying to test out there. And so, just different ways in which I show all different elements. I try to use a nice, neat display. I try to be organized, not just throw all the red, gems all over the place and the snake and the cards. I try to lay everything out nicely. Yes, the instructions have stains on them, but again, it's an issue of rarity. And because it's hard to find, people are going to pay up, even if it's broken. So that's the number 8 item. Let's move to number 7, Starlord. So many of you watching this may very well be Starlord fans from Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not sure if you know that he was featured in some Marvel Preview Presents magazines, and also there's a Marvel Super Special magazine. And of these, this white one here, the Super Special, that's the hardest one to find. It's very, very difficult to find this in this type of condition. And that's what really helped me jack up the price on this. The interesting thing, and when I say jack up, I just mean put a high price on it, not that it was an incorrect price. But if you tried to sell these individually, you might be able to get like, 10, $15 or something like that out of it. But by pairing these 3 together with this one, which is harder to find in that kind of condition, it helped add value to it. And I was able to sell all 4 of those for $135. These are things that I am getting for 15 to 20 cents in collection buyouts and just piecing things together here and there. So I was thrilled to have that sale. As Troy Shockley from Mountain Man Treasure pointed out, go check him out on Instagram. He and also on YouTube. He mentioned on my Instagram account when I show this that Starlord was recently featured in the new What If series. So what if T'Challa had become Starlord? So that also helped, a little bit in terms of generating some of the interest into this character. But he's popular nonetheless from Guardians of the Galaxy. And if you're curious, again, a lot of people ask me about comic books, what titles to look for. Here's a great example. Anything with Starlord on it, great to pick up, especially these vintage ones. So here's another great series run to pick up. Now, when I say series, you're going to see that these all have different titles, right? We've got Spider-Man on it. We've got Dreamwalker, Punisher, multiple Punisher, Aladdin Effect, Daredevil, a Death of Captain Marvel, New Mutants, right? But they all have one thing in common. They are all part of what's known as the Marvel graphic novel series. And all of these are from the 1980s. They had some that came out in later years, but these are all 1980 specific ones. The thing you really want to pay attention to with the Marvel graphic novels, you need to know what title that you have, and you have to look inside to look at the printing. So my Death of Captain Marvel one here was a fifth printing. You could see that fifth printing, 1982. If that is a first printing, that's the most sought after one for the Marvel graphic novel series. If that one was a first printing and it wasn't graded, that would sell for as high as $100 in and of itself. But once you start moving off that first printing, it takes the value down. If it was graded as a 9.8 by CGC, that particular issue would sell for as high as $1,200. So you have to know what you have before you start listing this stuff. But I was able to list all 15 of these and sell these for $180. These were actually mostly sourced from that storage locker buyout that I did. So again, I have pennies into these. In fact, it's all profit at this point because I've made my money back on that storage locker. So doing really well, and just still coming across stuff and listing stuff here and there. So next one is Marvel Venom versus Carnage. Again, a lot of people ask me about comic books, what to look for. Pay attention to what movies are coming out, because we've got the Venom Let There Be Carnage movie coming out on October 1st. And so that is ginning up the interest into these two characters. So you could see a close-up of them here. I had these laying around in a box. I just decided to go look for them because I knew the movie was coming out, and I just pieced together this set. They were all in really nice condition. So I was able to sell just those 4 comics for $200. And I keep trying to emphasize to people how much money there is in comic books. Yet the last video I put up of just showing one modern comic book selling for $300, there was barely any interest in that video. And a lot of people ask me, well, why don't you put up more comic book videos? That's the reason. A lot of people just don't show an interest in it. But I'm again, just if there's more interest, I'll make more videos. But there's so much money in comic books. Don't be scared off by them. Try to learn from them. That's what I'm trying to take people through when I do some of these videos, focusing on the comics. You could learn about any topic. I don't care if you grew up with this stuff or not. If I could learn jewelry, you could learn comic books. That's how I try to explain it to people. Okay, here's another one. Batman The Dark Knight. Okay, 4 comic books. Folks, we're talking 4 comics sold for $250. Okay. I think these may have also come from that storage unit buyout that I did, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Now, the thing about this you have to be careful about with this series is that, again, you have to look at the printing. The thing that helped about these is that, as you can see up top, I advertised these are all first prints, and they made many subsequent prints of these. But whenever I come across them, and as you can see right here, I have 2 just laying around right now, and I just hold on to them. And then when I find another issue that is part of that set, I'll just put it aside. And then it's called building sets. A lot of comic book collectors do that, and people who are selling, they just have multiple sets that they're just building as time goes on. So don't always think that you have to find the complete set when you're sourcing and always have it immediately. It's something that sometimes will be acquired over time. But this series, Batman The Dark Knight by Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller, is considered one of, if not the best comics mini series that was ever done, and certainly the best one for Batman, and really started to take him down more of a darker turn in terms of a character. So that's going to bring us to 1954, Battlefront issue number 25. And big shout out to Robbie from Vet Picks. Go check him out on Instagram. Just type in Vet Picks. He's got a lot of cool stuff on his channel. He picked this up from me during the Buy It Now-a-thon, which is the new event I'm doing on my channel. I'm going to have another one on September 15th with Susan from Vintage Vagabond Ven. So go check her out. I gave Robbie an awesome deal on this one. I had this listed at $299. I took $100 off for the sale. And I had obviously much less invested into it than that a while ago is when I picked it up. What really appealed to me is I love this war cover. War covers tend to be overlooked by comic collectors who are looking for more of the especially newer ones who are more looking for the superheroes. But there's a lot of people, a lot of niche audiences out there who love the military genre. Same with the horror genre. So I look for that type of stuff a lot. Lots of stuff with military, lots of stuff with monsters. And that's just a very nice dramatic scene. You could see the soldier battling there, some soldiers in the background. He's carrying the weapon, and you could see the the smoke and the planes and everything. Plus, it's a nice old issue. It's a golden age issue from 1954. And it's the second highest graded ever by CGC. So great deal, Robbie. Nice sale for me as well. And just another example of how good you could do with comic books. I sourced this originally in a comic book auction. So with those, you got to scour those and do your research, and try to pick something up you think you could flip down the road. Now we're going to come full circle to heavy metal magazines, because what did I show you earlier, right? I showed you these, where is it? I showed you these 6 heavy metal magazines from the 1950s. Well, those were part of the same collection as these here, but I teased the other ones out. What was great about this here is that this was a 3-year consecutive run of 1983, 1984, 1985, which is another thing I want to tell people about magazines. A lot of times what people who collect these are looking for are full year runs. So if you could say you have a full year run, every single issue for a particular year, that's a huge seller, and it's going to jump the price up significantly compared to what you could get from 12 random mixed issues. So that's really important. And to have 3 consecutive years in a row was awesome. Now, I had 1 issue missing from this. So what I did is I invested $8. I purchased it on eBay. I think it was the April 1983 issue. I just bought it on eBay. And sometimes you have to do that again to complete a run. That's why I also advise, if you have single issues that are just kind of random issues, put them on eBay. If you don't have a whole bunch of them, you just have maybe one random one, because there's someone out there who's probably going to need that to complete some type of run like I did. So that person made a sale, and that's how the eBay world goes round and round. $300, $100 per each year. So that was a great sale. I was very happy with that one. And then that brings us to the last sale. Speaking of comic books, again, this is the number 1 sale of the month, and I'm going to tease everyone a little bit, a smidget, okay? Because something happened with this that allowed me to complete this run, and that is going to segue perfectly into my next video, which is going to be a sourcing video. So that's coming up next. Well, actually, we got the live show tomorrow night, but after that, my next pre-recorded video will be a sourcing video, and this is going to be a topic of discussion. So make sure you stay tuned for it. But I've always talked about Secret Wars. There's Secret Wars, the original series 1 through 12, and then there's another one that had 9 issues. The 12-issue one is by far the one that's the most valuable. And what really helped in terms of making the price go up with this one is that you could see here we have that number 8 issue. That's the Spider-Man with the alien costume on it. And you could see there that that one has a UPC code on the bottom, okay? That means it's a newsstand issue. So it was available on the newsstand, as opposed to these other ones, which has the Spider-Man head on it, which is a direct issue. That means it was sent directly to the comic shops, the specialty shops. And so it's harder to find these newsstand issues around. So when they're in, particularly if they're in great condition and it's a key issue, newsstand ones with the UPC code will go for higher amounts than the direct edition. So that's why you see me advertise newsstand. A lot of times people think that, when they see this little, like an icon down here, like a head, or sometimes it's Thor or Captain America, they'll think that it's a reprint or something. That's not the case. It's just a difference in newsstand versus direct. And that helped get the price all the way up to $450 for 12 comic books. So I hope that you found this information helpful, and make sure you check out my friend Kyle from True Rarities. He's on Mercari. You may know Kyle, by the way, from many of the auctions. He's often present in there. You can see he's got lots of great items in his store. He's got music, he's got clothes, he's got patches, he's got collectibles. There's all sorts of stuff there. So definitely go give him a look. And if you get anything from him, let him know that Primetime sent you. I'll put a link to it in the description section and in the comment section. If you're brand new and wondering why the heck I'm telling you to go see Kyle, he's a great friend of the channel. He's a subscriber. He's also a member of the channel. So this is something I do for all members. I'll put a link to your store in the description section and in the comments. If you're curious how to join membership and all the different perks available, just click that join button right there. Make sure you come by tomorrow night. Check out the new live video series I have called the Secret Tipathon. You get to learn secret tips, and you have the opportunity to make some sales and enter into a Sweet 16 tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, everyone. And with that, I will see you at the next one. Take care.